Good afternoon. Thank you very much for being here. Well, basically, we see this one as the next match to be played in the PSL, a match that we need to approach in a similar way that we've been doing with the previous ones, studying our opponent as best as possible, understanding that how they can play, who they can line up, what characteristics they've been showing, what they can do that they didn't, or to eventually try to create some surprise. So understand that all the environment of the game itself in the technical side of the question, and obviously then try to pass to the players the details that are important for this match, and work on their level of confidence to approach it that comes from what we've been doing in the past. So that's a normal, let's say, preparation for the match.
Thank you, coach. You take questions on the floor.
Coach, good afternoon. Mazala Molefe from SABC Sport. Would you consider this title decider of some sort? Obviously, a lot of talk about Pirates being, a few games behind and hoping to, of course, they have to win them, hoping to catch up. But the fact that if they drop points against Sundowns, who are leading the race effectively, maybe they should perhaps settle for being runners-up.
How I see the championship from the very beginning, from the very first moment I arrived here, is that this is a championship where teams can lose points in any game. You can lose points at home against any opponent, and you can lose points away against any opponent. So whatever happens in this match, believe me that the approach I will have will be the same exactly one that I've been having until now, with the big responsibility for the next match, the next after this one, because it will be always 3 points in question, and if people don't think about the next match, then you can be in trouble. I have to be very serious on the approach we do on this PSL. Very serious, very serious. It's been quite challenging to keep this mentality, because with such schedule, mentally it's difficult to be always on the right focus to approach every match. It's also been quite challenging to understand which are the players that are in the best conditions to play, and also which ones we really cannot line up so that they can rest in order to have even a capacity to resist to the fact that they might get injured. I think we're doing quite well in terms of that management, and we'll still have to continue on that one. The focus after this match will turn, of course, for the Champions League. It's clear. And we'll have to cope with that, and then come back on the PSL again with the full energy, full commitment, whatever happens in the other competitions that we are playing. What we want is to arrive in the last part of the season, being able to compete in all the competitions. That is our objective. And for that, we need to clearly focus always on the next game, because then we have to play Nedbank Cup out of the schedule that was eventually planned, so it will address to us also new challenges. Then we'll have the Champions League. Let's hope we can make a good way, a strong opponent to play on the fourth of final, and take this championship to the last stages where we will be, I hope, in good position to win it. That's basically with big respect for everybody that we have to continue our way.
Next question.
Coach, Coach, the Bafana Bafana squad has just been announced, and there's quite a number of Sundowns players. How does it play to you? Is it to an advantage that they will continue playing, and when they come back, because most of them obviously are first-team players at Sundowns as well, first-team players at Bafana Bafana. What effect does that have on your team?
Well, very nice question. Obviously, that it's an incredible pleasure for the club, for myself and my staff, and for the players that we have such big number of players on the national team. Clearly, That's why we work what we work for. And also happy to see that also we have players on the under 20 national team. So and that we had also in the Shan national team players doing well. So that is clear. The objective of our work also is that our players are self-promoted individually in a level that allows them to be called up and represent South Africa. Obviously, that there's an impact of that, and the impact of that is that we're gonna play Champions League. We're gonna play eventually. Let's see when will be posted or put it the Nedbank Cup match. And we'll have to cope with the fact that eventually those players, if they play the 2 matches in the national team, they will be. We need to take care of them, but we cannot now tell the national team coach not to call our players because if we feel proud that they are there. Of course, that for example, it's not good that this match was put on Sunday because even for the national team, because the players will go immediately after the match for national team, they will not even have 1 day to rest. That's why the match should have been kept on Saturday and played on Saturday, so that the players that go for national team can also be respected in terms of how they have to rest to play in a good level in the national team. Football players are not machines. They are human beings that have families, that have their social life, that have obviously their physicality that should be respected. And sometimes we demand performance from players all the time, even when they are dying and not capable to perform in the best way. Because everybody's always pushing and saying if there's a player that today he didn't play so well, oh, he did. Sometimes it's impossible to perform in the level that we expect. I hope, obviously, that the work, and that's something obviously that an experienced coach like we have in national team, he will understand that also he needs to rest the players to have a performance that we all want to see in the national team of South Africa, because I also want the national team of South Africa to win as much as possible, if possible, games. Because that's what I work for also, and that's what the club wants. But then we need to cope with what will happen. We'll deal with the game time they will have be given in the national teams, because we'll have more players that will go for other national teams. Let's see what will happen with Peter Shalulili. Let's see what will happen with Divine Lunga. Eventually, those 2 are usually called up for their national teams also. So, but we are here to manage it. It's my job. I'll try to do it in the best way possible. Obviously, that sometimes I see contexts that we come out of them. We have been coming out of them with success. That I don't. Sometimes I have to pray to God and really be thankful for the fact that we can come out. In the moment, our panorama regarding injuries is quite more interesting. That there was a moment we spoke and the list was huge. So we've been doing a good job on trying to avoiding problems with the players. And let's hope we can continue in that way, so that then we can manage the fixture until the end of the season and give happiness also to our fans and to South Africa, because the responsibility of Champions League is there in the front, and we'll have also to represent South Africa in that competition.
Coach, you've said before that when you ask about Sundowns dominance, that the league is tight, there are no easy games. But what does it say about, firstly, the league? So my question is twofold. What does it say about the league and Sundowns in that in a season where the team has changed coaches twice, you've got a technical team that has not coached in the country, heavily rotated the team, at some point you lose your third choice goalkeeper, but you still manage to be at the top when this is supposedly to be a tight competition? And how are you able to do that, to maintain that level despite the various challenges that has been thrown at the team this season?
Yeah, it's a very interesting point, quite clear point. And sometimes I ask myself question, how it's possible? Because it has been quite hectic, the schedule, the fixture, challenging for all of us, demands a lot of concentration, a lot of professionalism level. The fact that the group is strong in terms of mentality, it helps a lot. So I don't see players fighting between themselves for establishing the team because they know they will have possibilities. Obviously, that no one will have the same game time in the end. There will be players that will be always more used, others that will be less used, players that we feel that are more preponderant on the team, others that will be less. The question is exactly that the success will come probably also not also, but as preponderant from the ones that have less game time, but in the right games, as you say, they enter, they give performance, and they sustain the level. So I'm very happy because of that. We played with Zuku. Zuku is our, let's say, third option as right back. We have Tapelo Moreno, we have Ulises Mudal. And he played 3 games in a row. Unfortunately, he got injured and now he's coming back. And he sustained the level. Tiwani sustained the level. He played shifts. We trusted him. He played. And he was very well. Mali coming from Diski team, first season, what regularity he has been able to produce. Sales, 2 months ago, people were speaking, and he's showing everybody that he has the level and helping the team a lot. Just to say some names, Neo was not playing a lot last games. He goes to national team and he plays in the level that everybody praised. And that's what I want. That's what I need. That's what the team needs. That the players, one falls, another stands up. And for that, the mentality and the mindset of the group must be very clear. Don't fight against each other, fight alongside each other. That is completely different approach. That's what the spirit we have in the team. And we share ourselves. It's amazing to see that when one guy gets the man of the match, the other ones in the same position are the first ones to put it in the WhatsApp story, highlighting the fact. It's fantastic. Because believe me that in many structures, in many clubs, they don't do this. They don't want the other one to succeed. They go out of training sessions when they see that there's another one playing on that position. That happened to me already. But here, no, they respect. They respect the options. They are willing to be on the bench and enter to make the difference. They are willing to wait 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 matches to play 1 or 2 and make a difference, or don't let difference exist also. And I think it comes from that, the fact that we share values in a strong way in the locker room. And eventually it comes from there. Obviously, that there are always moments that you need to have that star that helps you sometimes when the things can fall one side or the other, it falls for our side. But most of the times that stars comes from hard work and quality. And that's what we are trying to do, just that. But still a lot to go. We are very far away from where we want to be.
Good afternoon, Coach. I think you spoke about the national team players being away. There's a lot of pride when you speak about that, and quite rightly so. On the flip side, you've got a player who's probably one of the best in the league, in Ribeiro, not being considered, or at least I do not know, but he was not called up for Brazil. How do you handle such a player that he knows, or people see that he's one of the best in the country, but not being considered? Do you sit with him in your office? How do you handle it? Because it must be very, very difficult and upsetting for him.
Do you want me to give you the politically correct answer or the true one? Because if I would give you the political correct answer, I would say, yeah, it's a pity that he don't go on national team for Brazil. He's being probably the best player in the league. He's highly skillful. All of this is true. I think Lucas to go on national team of Brazil will have to prove himself in another level. That's what I think. Because if you go to see the names of the players, and I went to see the names of the players of the Brazil national team, where they play, and they play in the biggest teams in the world. And we can think that we are one of the biggest teams in Africa. But to be one of the biggest teams in the world, there's still, and I think Lucas will have to prove himself in that level if he wants to have a call-up for national team of Brazil. And then it's up to him to arrive on that level and show if he has that quality. He has potential, no doubts. If I believe on him, no doubts. If he will achieve that, I think that it will be him that has to speak for that. So, but I feel very pleasure to work with him. That is clear. But I already worked with Douglas Costa, Alex Teixeira, Luis Adriano, Fernandinho, Tyson, Marlos. So I know that Lucas has potential for that level, but he has to prove it. He will have to prove it.
Joseph from Sports Coach. I'm looking at where you are now as Sundowns going into the Pirates game. You are more on your peak now, still going up, if I may say, and yet they are a bit unstable. I mean, they just drove in yesterday. What's the danger of complacency from your players that may say it's another game, they're walking the park for them? How do you deal with it?
Yeah, it's something that if you don't pay attention may become reality, but it will not. It should not, and I will fight a lot so that doesn't happen. The other day, I think I told you that if I didn't, I will repeat it, or if I did, I will repeat it. When you play games in each 3 days during almost 2 months in a row, there are moments you go for the match, it seems that you go to have a dinner outside. And that is the mistake you do. And I spoke about that with my players. There's a moment in one of our meetings before going for a match that I told them, look, boys, I have two musics I usually listen before on my way to the match. Two musics. One of them comes from many years ago, since I started being a head coach. I always listen to that music. It's called Story of My Life. And I really like to, when I go for the match, to feel privileged because I'm living my life and enjoying that. So it's a music that should remind me about the pleasure I should have in the moment I go for a match, because it comes from my hard work to be in that moment. And this year I picked another one that's called Soldier On, because sometimes also you need to dress your soldier mode. And I started listening to that one. And one day I shared that with my players. I told them, look, boys, you know that a couple of matches ago, I noticed that I went on the match and I didn't listen to those musics. I just arrived on the stadium and I said, oof, I didn't put my musics. And that is the problem. When you start believing that it's just one match, and you go out of your routines, you go out of your preparation, you go out of your mindset, you go out of the way you usually do it to be succeeded, so that you feel committed with yourself in order to succeed. And I told them so that they don't allow themselves to happen that. Because if it happens, you don't win. You don't win. You don't win. It can happen to one player if the other 10 are committed, but sometimes they can influence one. But if it's 2 or 3 that are not on the peak, you can lose. You can lose. And PSL matches, they're tricky. They are tricky. I don't see easy matches. Even if the ones we won by 4, there's no easy matches. They became easy as the match went on because we did a lot of good things. If we don't do them, they will be tricky. It's that emotional connection is decisive to approach the games in such a way that allow you to win. And when you get fatigued, tired, it's more difficult to have this capacity. That's why being tired it can affect the performance, the commitment, the right energy, the right will to make the things, the preparation, everything, the focus, and then the sense of not being able to do it because I'm not so quick, I'm not so explosive. I want to press, I cannot. I want to come quick but down, and I cannot. And then it's your mind that will speak, your heart that will speak. So that's what we need to continue to take in the pitches. The right mind with the right thoughts, the right emotions, the right behaviors, and your heart in everything you do. And when you start believing you are better than the other ones, you'll start losing the game you're going to play.
And what do you take the last 2 questions?
Good afternoon, Coach. In the corresponding fixture blockers, you were confronted with a situation where of Mali and Suarez, and I think I remember if I'm correct, you went with the experience of Suarez. I can imagine it was not because you didn't trust Suarez, but you went with the experience. And going into this match,
I don't understand.
I'm saying in a corresponding fixture, you had a situation where you went with Suarez ahead of Mali. and I can imagine you went with experience for that decision. My question is that the Pirates coach sort of find himself in a similar situation now. For this young kid who has been playing very well for them. Obviously, I don't expect it to be much. Do you feel that if they play Bogazi, the young star, is it an area where maybe you can exploit? You can decide whether you give the politically correct answer or the other one.
No, I understand your question. It has two approaches and two different sides, and I can comment. First one, and I think that even coach spoke about that, and I also spoke about that when we started speaking about Mali. Young players should be protected by coaches. It doesn't mean that he will not play whatever or that Mali will not play. It means that we need, as coaches, to be aware of the drops, so that the hypes and the lows of these players, and not allow them to be criticized heavily if there's a moment where not so good, and protect them. Because the impact of the critics in a player that is established is one. Even the way he's criticized is not the same as a player that is starting, that can kill a player. So a coach needs to really well understand the moments he exposes the player to the matches, in which matches to put him to play. I don't relate with age regarding the choice of players. I don't relate with age, and I don't relate with the fact that I'm more experienced or less experienced. I might relate with a group of characteristics that allow me to choose one player rather than another one. But most of my choices regarding players have been done, or many of them, or several of them, regarding the different moments of the players. I think we played already Lucas and Mali. I'm sure, because there was a match that Grant could not play. There were matches that played Grant and Lucas. There were matches that played Musa and Mali. There were matches that played Musa and Lucas. And then substitutions that made us even share more doubles, more pairs. I hope soon that Motobi also puts himself in the fight so that we can have more headaches, let's say. And also last match we gave the opportunity, and I stayed so happy because of it to Kiano to enter the match. Despite he didn't play exactly as a center back, the intention was that he could play as a 6 and dropping when we didn't have the ball to be in between center backs. So I don't know what the other coach Jose will do. I also don't know what I will do. Believe me that I don't know who will play. Today, after I finish my interviews, I'll start working on Pirates, because I also needed some. Yesterday, we also had some other things to do as a team to analyze our previous match, and also I need to understand how the players will be tomorrow, and then from tomorrow on, we'll see. For what eventually we know is that there will be something on the match that should come from the way we want to be in a regular basis, and there will be something that will be strategic for the game from both parts. But that will be from both parts for sure. Then the interpreters that will take that in action. Let's see.
Take the last question. Thank you. Good afternoon, Coach. Coach, currently Sundowns are the team that's leading or having broken the record of having accumulated more points than any other teams. And when I check my calculator, doing my calculations, your team and yourself are on course to reach at least 82 points. And that would be the first. Are you guys focusing on that, or are you just focusing on winning all your matches?
I understand that you all may look the past, make this kind of statements, analysis, comments, but we don't work like that. That's why we are coaches and you are journalists, press. And my comment is not negative. It's just the way it is, I don't have time to think about that, and I don't worry at all. I just need to focus on what's happening, what happened yesterday, so the game we played, what I liked, what I didn't like, how I feel the team, Then the fact that we do play so much, it makes my job easier because we almost don't train, so I don't need to prepare a lot of training sessions. That reduces by some point the volume of work. But then we had to prepare more meetings, so we need to work more on and more concentrated. And in the middle of all that, there's no time for nothing regarding. I don't look at the table. I don't know who is to be relegated. I don't look. Believe me, I don't look. I respect everything so much that for me is look how they play. Obviously, that when we're gonna play them, then I look for their position. I look for what they've been doing. I studied their last matches. I look for how they changed the squad, how they come, where they come, where they are, where they come from, and where they are. But just on that moment, it means that during that week, I don't care about it. I know that there were 2 matches yesterday. I just know Chiefs draw. I don't want the other. I don't know the other results. I don't know, because that's not the way I need to worry about. I need to worry about how my players are, what I need to train, how I will train what I need in when I don't have time, because we don't have time. Even in this game that we have extra day than usual, or extra 2 because we played some of them just 2 days between. This time we have 4. The level of concentration that you need to have in your team is so big that it's if you had matches Saturday or Sunday, then you have time to sit, pick the regard the general panorama, go to watch a little bit of every game that happened during the week, and it's another approach as a coach. In the moment we are living, I cannot lose that time, because if I waste that time, I will notice myself at 1 o'clock in the morning and with still a lot to do, because it happens to me. The other day I was so tired, I seated on my sofa in the balcony, and I stayed there for 1 hour. And then I looked at my watch and said, oh, what you did. And now I need still to do this and this and this. And I slept at 3 o'clock in the morning, because it has been like that. But obviously it's good that we have been projecting good things. We have good energy, because that also gives me good energy to go day by day. Otherwise it would be catastrophic, very difficult.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you very much.